I am losing my mind. I'm losing my mind. Oh man, oh man. I know I've been mentioning recently that I was grinding Organ Story for achievements, right? Oh, it's bad. It's really bad. It's really bad. I tried the defeat the game in 10 hours and no saves, both at the same time. What a disaster. What an absolute disaster. I had a great run, and then I got completely destroyed by a random spell. Partially it's my fault, because I could have Magic Ward, and I didn't. It was a one shot. I decided, well, let's try this again. Cannot be that bad. It cannot be that bad, I thought. It cannot be that bad, I thought. You know what happened? I got destroyed by the Earth Dragon in Snowflake Forest. I had no stats whatsoever. Couldn't reach the boss in time. Acid Breath. One shot. I know there's a strat to get good stats with the boss roulette. I cannot do it. I just cannot do it. I tried it. I know how it works. The roulette is too fast for me. My eyes cannot keep up. So for me, it's just an RNG fiesta. And it's not a fun RNG fiesta when you are like 3 or 4 hours in, and then you die and have to start over. So I don't know if I will be able to finish that achievement. Kinda pisses me off at this point in time. There's not much I can do. You know what? I think this makes sense. Another nostalgic Pokemon music that will help you feel better. You know what? Yes, I want to feel better. I want to feel better about myself. Ah, it's so rough. And playing that game without the stats is not good. I got like +3 strength, +2 int, +2 agility. All of those thanks to elixirs, not the stats roulette. The stats roulette kept giving me +3 HP, +2 MB. Was impossible to hit. No risk, normal enemy, 64% accuracy. That's not good. That's not good. And some people would say, oh, but it's so fun, it's such a challenge. It's not fun for me. It's just an RNG fiesta. I'm not into that kind of life. You cannot blame me. Ah, man. Why live like this? Well, I couldn't tell you. I couldn't tell you. I guess that achievement set was much more difficult than I expected. Most of it is not difficult, it's just time consuming. I'm more than 200 hours in. I want this to end. When is it going to end? Soon, probably. There's still a bunch of achievements I can get. I don't know if I want to bother with that. Just trying to grind it, being, ooh, look at that, it's just get lucky. Well, I don't want to keep getting lucky, okay? I don't. That's not funny. That's not funny to me. Probably be playing something else. I think that makes sense. But speaking of things that make me lose my mind. Where's the thing? Hold up. Hello? No, that is incorrect. That is incorrect. That is incorrect. Oh, there we go. There we go. Whoosh. Down the list. Why did that happen? Speaking of things that make me lose my mind completely. Let's talk about Twitch for a little bit, shall we? Oh boy. What did they do this time? More like, what didn't they do? Oh my goodness. Twitch viewership drops to the lowest in 5 years amid ViewBot crackdown. Oh, I wonder why. I wonder why, baby. Twitch has recorded its lowest monthly viewership in 5 years following a crackdown on ViewBots over the summer. Back in July, Twitch announced that they would be meaningfully improving their ability to identify ViewBots, inauthentic viewership, and other potentially fake engagement. CEO Dan Clancy noted that the Amazon-owned platform would take additional steps to ensure real viewers weren't affected. Ha! 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 That was a lie. As we all know, that was a lie. We've seen before that apparently when they're saying ad running, you don't count as a viewer. At least if you're not... If you're watching the ad, if you're actually watching the ad, you don't count. I don't think that should happen. You're still in the page watching. It is not by your hand that you're watching ads. Trust me, I will know. Since then, the platform's viewership has fallen off a fair bit, with stat tracking websites like Twitch Tracker and Stream Charts showing downward trends. There have, of course, been spikes too, with big events like Ibai's annual Velada del Año and Kaizenat's 30 Days of Summer. Yeah, about Kaizenat, that's a little bit suspicious, I'm afraid. Sure, I understand that he was doing like a big subathon and all that. Don't really know how that guy works. I never watch him. But so, yeah, I'm not gonna be streaming for a while. And then he came back at foreshadowing. Twitch denied that the viewership is in free fall, telling this out though. We've seen some misinformation swirling, and a lot of that misinformation includes data pulled from third-party sources. Those numbers are incorrect and are not from Twitch. I've seen the numbers on Twitch from other streamers. It's lower. I can tell you, it's lower. Oh look, this person has like 300 to 350 CCV. That's concurrent viewership. Look, there's an ad. You're down to 220 or 280 during those like 3 minutes. That's not random. That's not random. That's really strange. Sure, I understand that people will leave if they see ads. A third of your CCV? I don't know about all that. That doesn't make a lot of sense to me. I've seen people with like 20 to 25% lower CCV overall. That's not random. That's not random. People will not be buying low numbers anyway, so... I don't know, Dan Clancy, you keep lying to me. Many such cases. Twitch viewership stats for August 2025. Well, according to Stream Charts, nearest numbers, Twitch's monthly viewership in August reached a low that it hadn't hit in 5 years. As for their stats, there was a total of 1.41 billion hours of watch time, which was down 9% compared to July. 9% doesn't seem a big enough drop from what I'm saying, so who knows. Additionally, average total viewers was down to around 1.9 million, an 8% drop versus the previous month. And peak viewership was down 73%, which... that's a lot. Okay, as you can see here, 9% down, hours watched. 8% down, average viewers. 7% down, categories streamed. 7, 8, 9. Okay, around the same. Peak viewers down 73%. That's a lot. That's way more than the numbers they were given. Like, oh, 24% of bots. 24% of bots? And you're not getting sued by fraud? Or because of fraud, I should say. Yeah, I don't know about that. I don't know about that one. This was Twitch's worst month since March 2020. Ah, jeez, I wonder what happened through March 2020. According to the stat tracking website. March 2020, of course, marked the start of the global health pandemic. Ah, it's the China virus. Keeps happening. Stream Charts also estimated that VBots accounted for 30 million fake hours watched. with around 4,400 channels being heavily bottled. 4,400 channels being heavily bottled. Are they gonna suffer consequences, being banned or something like that? No. Come on. What are you, stupid? Of course you are. Kick, Twitch's biggest rival in the live streaming space, has also reportedly been hit by bots. Kick's bots are somewhat different, I can tell you. Ask me how I know. Screenshot's monthly report suggested that 1 in 6 Kick streamers are reliant on V-bots for their viewership. So trash. Okay, I thought we were trashing Twitch here. Why are we complaining about Kick right now, huh? What is this? Is this controller position? I don't like that. I don't like that. Keep lying to me. It's really bad. It's really bad. So yeah, apparently a lot of people. Arguably I don't know too much about the streaming sphere. Funny, I know. But apparently some moderately big streamers were taking surprise vacations during August. And I think it was Asmongold who mentioned that. I sometimes get some of his clips and my recommendations. It's like, well, isn't that a little bit strange? Well, it is. And it was also, I don't know if it was Asmongold or Tecton who mentioned that. That sometimes, if you're a big streamer, your channel might be botted not by your hand, especially if you're doing some sort of it's not a collab. It's an ad? I know they call them ads, but when you're oh jeez man, brain, please work with me for a second. Oh my god. Oh. You know exactly what I mean if I explain it, but the word is completely evading me at this point. You know what streamers do, right? They would get some sort of patronage by a game company to play a game for like 1 or 2 hours, being like, wow, look at this game, it's so cool. This is an ad, they pay me to show you the game. Use my link. That thing, it has a name. Completely out the window today. I don't know why. Happens to me sometimes. But yeah, sometimes when you're doing this the kind of content, maybe the companies themselves that try to inflate your numbers, so you reach more people, and maybe the game looks more appealing. I suppose not only games, but obviously also games. And if you're in a corporation, maybe the corporation is also boosting your numbers. It shouldn't be happening, but it's happening. Lying is just way too common and way too useful, I'm afraid. But there's more. There's always more. Here we have a couple of tweets by Zach Boozy. The Boozy! They just crackdown on viewbotting has intensified significantly over the last 48 hours. Many top 5,000 streamers are experiencing their lowest performance CCP streams of 2025. It's a bit early to be sure, but it looks like Twitch undid this change today. This was August 26th. Almost every example I looked at on Saturday that showed the streamers having their lowest performing streams of the year between Thursday and Saturday are back at their 30-day average today. That or every VBot service has found a solution already. It wouldn't be surprising. It wouldn't be surprising. You're gonna stop cheating. Chart today is almost directly in line with last week's, compared to the previous 4 days that were far below their last week's viewership. Interesting times, to say the least. And here we have the tracker thing. Yeah, it's kinda low, it's going back up again. I mean, 26th. Wasn't that? No, it wasn't. No, it wasn't. I was thinking, well, maybe this is just a weekend. No, that was a Tuesday. That was a Tuesday. Which is really interesting. But speaking of guys and ads, I didn't forget, because I have a tweet for that. Twitch is doing on-site and email blasts to all users, aimed at promoting guys and not subathon. I've been getting this. And I was like, what are you doing? Just give the guy back his bots, okay? Do not flood me with stupid ads of people I don't want to watch. Because this doesn't make any sense. Stop trying to push guys and not to me. I don't care about the guy, okay? I just don't care. Why is it only guys and ads? Maybe it's not only guys and ads, but as people have been complaining, why didn't do this for Iron Mouse when it was for charity? Well, who knows really? The Twitch, and it's really funny. I think I mentioned this even though I didn't show the full event. This was a couple of months ago, late June if I'm not mistaken. We had incredible strats from Dan Clancy himself. Apparently he's also a streamer, or he tries to. He had the audacity of going to other streamers' chats to promote his stream. And people were like, yeah, you're gonna get banned because that's a big no-no. Of course that's a big no-no. In the culture of Twitch, that's always been the case. And of course you have the founders of the guy. But it's for charity. Come on, why are you so greedy? I don't care, dude. I just don't care. You're the CEO. You could have made an actual event through the website. But no, you're doing the worst of the worst on your own website, trying to scrap some viewers. You know what? Get banned. Not from the site. That'd be beautiful. It's never gonna happen. And on top of that, as some people have mentioned it, that's against Twitch's TOS. But as we all know, Twitch's TOS only buying those who believe in them. Sadly. What is this? Has some biker promoting terrorism? A gang? What is this? Has some biker promoting the assassination of sitting senators in the USA? Sure, that's against the TOS. Sure, that's also illegal. Is he gonna get banned? No, come on. Come on, what are you, new here? Of course not. But this is not everything from Twitch. This is not everything from Twitch. You oftentimes see the biggest streamers telling you, it's not that difficult. It's not that difficult to grow. Everybody can do it. Is it really? Is it really that easy? Is it really that easy, Ludwig? I guess not. Ludwig tried starting a brand new Twitch channel from scratch. Here's what happened. The rules: 0 followers, can't use his name, no help from friends. Apparently this guy tried this before, and he was cheating a lot. I think that was YouTube. Using actual professional editing, paying for it, I mean, and also getting his friends to react to this random content here, which is really slimy. But I went through this, and yes, that's how it works. Yes, that is how it works. 5 hours later, he finally got one real chatter. And apparently that's because somebody recognized him as Ludwig. So congratulations, you played yourself. The reality of small streaming hit hard. This is a thread, it's BDQ, a lot of people are not liking this. Because these guys are somewhat of a content farm sometimes. It's kinda bad. After many fans, someone asked Ludwig, could you make it on Twitch if you started over? He said yes. Then realized his biggest strength was bouncing off chat. Yes, oftentimes that happens. What do you do if you don't have a chat? Well, you need to be a little bit schizophrenic and just talk to yourself. Ask me how I know. So he created Return of Elite 31 goal. Get 1 follower and 1 chatter. Oh, it can't be that difficult. Lamau. Don't need to watch the clips, I don't think. Goes live in just chatting. Practicing by talking to fake chat. 5 minutes in. First follower! But it was a bot. Real followers versus bots feel very different. Yeah, that happens. 30 plus minutes streaming. 0 real viewers. Only himself watching on 2 accounts. Played World War once. Alone, I know how to read. His words. I'm nothing without chat. Jokingly, kinda. The loneliness was brutal. Why Twitch discovery fails? We all know why. Discovery on Twitch doesn't exist. Literally doesn't exist. Sometimes I get really surprised when I get recommendations for... I was about to say VTubers, not just VTubers I guess. Small streamers on Twitch. We're talking about 5 to 30 CCB. Which is something that doesn't happen a lot really, so... I'm like, oh wow, look at those, that's pretty good. The non-existing algorithm, pick them up, yeah, that's nice. For once. Why Twitch discovery fails? Just chatting, too saturated. Never close to 0 viewer streams. Even niche games barely help. Results, hours of streaming. Literally nobody. Now I understand why people lose view bots. That shouldn't have to be the case. You shouldn't have to cheat and lie to make it. The logic, V-bots, higher placement, more visibility. More visibility, real viewers. The rich get richer. That's always been Twitch, by the way. That's always been the case. Stop it. The lift energy. Ludwig ate a hot dog as fast as possible. You eat chestnut parody style. It was the most entertaining part of the whole stream. Light bulb. If you're starting over, he'd do 30 to 45 minute stand streams, plus click them for TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube. People have seen this, and they were like, sure, I mean, short form content makes sense, it's what's being pushed right now. Much to my dismay, it's not something I like, enjoy, or find entertaining at all. But at this point in time, not only you're faking your engagement, you're just faking your content even. You're just clip baiting instead of creating actual content. You could just make the clips without the streaming. You could just make like skit videos and all that. That's probably better for your mental health. Trying to click this. 2.5 hours in. This feels like hell. I miss my chat. They have switched to One Piece card openings. Added question mark giveaway in the title. There was no giveaway. Finally, first real chatter. Then another Oscar. Stop it. Explain why he streams. I love gaming and want to inspire others. Testing on trash and changed everything. Difference between 0 and 1 viewer? Astronomical. And something that's not being said here, but I read elsewhere. I don't know if it's true or not, but I can probably believe it. It was that somebody recognized this guy as Ludwig. That's why he got the view. Imagine fucking that. After 5 hours to get one chatter, here's what Ludwig learned. Pitch random from 0 is a waste of time. Yes. Create one strong moment, clip it to spread it. My community members are everything. Without you guys, my job would be hell. Yes, that is still really difficult. That is still really difficult. Because now you have to play around with other algorithms in other websites. And let's be real. Do you really believe people that watch TikTok all the time are gonna sit on their ass to watch a 4-hour stream? Yeah, I don't think that's happening. I don't think that's happening. I could be wrong, but I'm probably not. We all know, because all of those YouTube channels that got kinda big subscriber-wise through shorts, the streams are not getting any traction. The strategy to start in Twitch from zero. Stream one entertaining segment, clip the best moments, post clips everywhere. Drive traffic back to Twitch, turn your first chat into your biggest fan. And as some people have said, this is hilarious. The way to get big on Twitch is to spend the least amount of time on Twitch, which doesn't make any fucking sense. If you're grinding Twitch from 0 viewers, this is your wake-up call. Stop streaming to nobody. Start clipping your best moments. Build your first 1-2 viewers into a community. You need to save another creator from burning out. There's a lot of people doing this already. So, sure, it might work. I mean, might be the only way for this to work. But at the same time, not only you need to spend a lot of time with this, on top of that, you're competing with a lot of people. Are you gonna get lucky enough? Maybe, maybe not. Maybe, maybe not. And I'm gonna be completely honest with you. I've seen really small streamers that have way better content than the bigger ones. So, at the end of the day, it's just like reality. Just keep lying, just keep cheating. I guess that works. That's how you see nobody streamers blowing up in like 2 weeks. Oh wow, this is the new sensation in streaming. Who is this person? How is it possible that this person has like 4 or 5 digit CCV when they are as fun as watching paint dry? Insanity. Absolute insanity. And then you also get, that usually happens with gaming streamers. They have like 2 to 3 digits CCV, and you go in, and nothing happens. Not because it's not high moments or whatever, it's just a guy silently playing a game. I don't know about that. I don't know about that. I mean, I understand. In some segments, they're gonna be silent. Maybe the characters are speaking. Maybe you need to focus because you're doing a difficult fight and whatnot. Sure, that makes sense. If I go in and I don't hear a single mambo in 30 minutes, we have a problem. Conductor, we have a problem. Huh. But if you think it's only Twitch being interesting, you haven't seen anything yet. Let us talk about YouTube too. There's this article here from Dexardo. Hashtag Tips has seen massive in sudden drop in viewership. He believes YouTube's algorithm is partially to blame. The algorithm is constantly recommending members-only content that most people can watch over his normal videos. That is true. I've noticed that. I follow Sameko Saba. She's pretty funny, she's really nice. I keep getting recommended her membership streams, not her normal ones. Even though she streamed twice this week, I keep getting, in my recommendations, a membership stream from 3 weeks ago. Just like this here, 3 weeks ago, which is kind of funny. But wait, there is more. I went through this tweet thread by Obakepam just before a stream. I've been complaining about this for weeks, and now I'm completely justified. I understand that maybe my complaints sometimes might be completely wrong, because I'm a really small guy, so my dataset is minuscule. I wasn't wrong. I wasn't wrong. And it's really disheartening, because I don't know how to fix this. You probably can't. So me and many other people have also noticed our numbers drastically drop on YouTube, and I've been keeping track to try to figure out why. So if you've also been struggling on YouTube lately, you aren't alone. If you have any leads on why, feel free to let me know. Here's what I have so far and what I think I've ruled out. I do believe, to some extent, this has to do with Brave browser. to some extent, not only Brave. I understand it's not only Brave, but I think Brave is also an issue. Because I've been having a lot of trouble using Brave to watch YouTube. Sometimes the videos just don't load. I also had troubles with Firefox recently. This happened, what, like 2 weeks ago? It was kind of insane. I think it was more than 2 weeks ago. I kept trying to play music on stream. It kept crashing like 10 to 15% in. I was just getting a strange error message, and even reloading was completely useless. So that's really strange. That shouldn't happen with Firefox. Let's see. I haven't had a video upload, so this is only related to stream VODs. Also happens with videos. Since my shorts seem to be performing as usual, my YouTube has been consistently every stream had drastically lower VOD views, despite the CCB/average watch time being the same as before. A few days later, slashing my reported CCB by around 40 to 60+% compared to numbers seen during and right after the stream. I've seen this happening. I've seen this happening a year ago. A year ago, it was rare for this to happen, but it happened. Right now, it's literally every single VOD. It's really bad. And the first part really doesn't make sense. If your overall views are going down, there's no way your CCV to average watch time ratio will exactly be the same. It means either less people watching at a time, which will lower CCV, or people watching for shorter amounts of time, which would mean a lower average watch time. Yes, that's how the three factors relate. That makes sense. Okay, so if that's not the culprit, then what the heck is happening? I had noticed lower CCV than usual, and I just assumed that was on my part. Until I talked to a number of creators, almost everyone has noticed drastically lower CCV compared to usual. Yes, this has been happening since the ID verification stuff, not only with the UK, but also with the USA. I think that's active now? I'm not quite sure. So yeah, I've seen CCV lower, especially for other people. However, even for streams that reach my usual CCV, the above, even same CCV/watch time, CCV to watch time ratio, I suppose, still holds true. So even if some are lower, the ones that meet or even pass my usual CCV still have drastically lower views, which should be impossible. It's not impossible, it's YouTube's tricks, which is really strange. I tried encouraging likes in chat in case engagement made a difference, but it didn't seem to change anything even when I got many more likes on one stream versus another. People are receiving maybe age verification, people using alternate sources to watch, I have no idea. Chatting is useless for engagement. I don't know why, but apparently it's completely useless. I don't know what an engaged viewer is by YouTube's metrics. This has been happening to me for a while, and I could show you in my dashboard something so stupid you couldn't believe it if I only told you about it. Weeks ago, I had a stream. It was a normal stream. Nothing special about it. But like a week later, when I went to look at the analytics for the stream, I found that not only it slashed my CCV, it was telling me that I didn't have anybody watching. It was extremely funny when you just scroll down a little bit and during a portion when allegedly nobody was watching, literally 0 CCV, there were a bunch of chat messages. Like 20 or so. That's hilarious. Something like that should be impossible. So if somebody keeps talking into the chat and doesn't count as a view, what does count as a view? I have no idea. Keep going. I wonder if maybe it was relating to raids, so it tracked CCV on a stream that got big raids. To my surprise, the numbers were slashed more than ever, from 2/3, but the slashing seemed to have no relation whatsoever to the raids. because the graphs still show the raid shape, including the raiders as active viewers. You can see the exact same bumps when raiders come in. If raiders were erased, they shouldn't show up at all. First image is immediately after stream, second is a few days later. And a side note, this CCV to watch time prior would have been easily 1.5 to 2k. So here we have this here. This is right after stream. Average 189, peak 280. Pretty good. After, average 59, peak 96. 1/3 of the original numbers. 2/3, boom, completely destroyed, completely killed. There's the stream. Last all side is out, but is it good? We can see here, more than 1,000 views. Peak concurrence 280, that's makes sense. Average view duration about 30 minutes, pretty good. A lot of watch time, which it tracks. It tracks. But there's more. The removing raiders has been rolled out. The ship isn't completely the same because the number dips drastically after the raids, but you can still see the bumps from the raids, so it is counting incoming raiders as legitimate viewers. The people stop being counted if they aren't active after a certain amount of time. If they don't chat, I have no idea. Central of the raids is expected, so that wouldn't surprise me, but the first graph shows a much straighter line. The parts removed are during steep periods in the second graph. Yeah, around the middle, as you can see. This is almost a straight line here, with small bumps. Here's closer to a valley. That's real strange. This actually happened across multiple streams, and if you stream on YouTube, I urge you to check analytics immediately after stream versus a few days later. You'll see what I mean. Here's another example. Stream right after versus a few days later. Peak 129, average 105. 7 hours and a half, not bad. Peak 69, average of 51. So, pretty much cut in half, again. And this gacha game just removed the gacha. What the hell? That doesn't make any sense. A lot of views. Lower average view duration. Pretty much the same total watch time. I mean, it's a long stream, so people are gonna dip out. And another example. No, that's strange formatting. First time ever Metal Gear. Metal Gear Solid Delta Snake Eater, I do believe. 126 views, 287 total watch time hours. Peak 105, average 85. Then peak 55, average 44. Pretty much cut in half again. Another example, very short stream length, so it doesn't seem to be related to time either. This is just an hour. Peak 107, average 87. Peak 51, average of 42. Pretty much cut in half, once again. School days, get good at money, economics slow. Yeah, I mean, lower total watch time because it's a shorter stream, but it makes sense. What did you... Get me back. What? I tracked all my streams last week, and the same thing kept happening. Obviously I'm not botting. If I was, the numbers would be higher. No one would bot for this much Lamau. Of course not. So it's not bad. Encouraging people to interact with the streams seems to change nothing. Because even if the streams are nerfed, it doesn't seem to be caused by raids. Because the graph shape stays the same once views are removed. But views also seem to suffer for some reason overall, and I still haven't figured out why. Does anyone know what the hell is being cut? Or what anyone can do about it? Because I sure don't. I think the number of YouTube creators feeling similarly down lately about their analytics, posting so that anyone else who's been struggling doesn't feel alone. It's happening to many of us. No idea what it is, but if your numbers have taken a hit, I highly encourage you to monitor. Maybe if we all do, someone can figure it out, or at least maybe YouTube will give answers. And we have here Evanito mentioning the hype feature, which doesn't make any sense. Why would it slashing have your CCV after the stream? It makes no sense. And God, Twitch, you're so trash. Twitch? Also that, but Twitter, you're so trash sometimes. Thing is, encouraging people to interact with the stream seems to change nothing, because even if they do, the numbers are nerfed. I don't know what's going on YouTube, but I can tell you things that I've noticed personally. It's not only streams, it's also happening to videos. I've seen in real time the disappearance of views from videos, not just streams. I've seen in real time the disappearance of likes on videos, and literally in real time while I was streaming on the stream itself. So something really strange is going on, and I don't know what it is. But I wasn't crazy. This is literally happening. YouTube is screwing us all over the place. What's the fix for this? You cannot fix this. It's on YouTube side. The only thing I can recommend people to do is to diversify yourself. Start streaming elsewhere. Find your place at the same time. You're doing YouTube and Twitch? Cool. Add Kick. Cool. Add Twitter, I guess, if you're paying for Twitter Blue. At this point, I might be considering adding Rumble to the mix. Even though I don't think Rumble's a good fit for me, but I don't know. They were campaigning for Rumble Gaming a while back. Don't know what happened with that. And it's really interesting to me that all of this is happening at the same time. Both Twitch and YouTube. Telling, no, it's all about engagement. It's all about the engagement. I'm so engaged. What is engagement? What is engagement? If people chatting doesn't work, if people watching for long periods of time, sometimes the full stream doesn't count. If liking doesn't count, what are you supposed to do? As a viewer or as a content creator, what are you supposed to do? I don't think you can do anything. Because you keep taking the views out, you keep taking the CCV, and you keep taking even the likes. That's insane. That's insane to me. Is this just spaghetti coding at this point? I have no idea. I have no idea. But I do hope that thanks to this Twitter thread, we can get either more information or YouTube to say anything. Of course, the funniest thing of all here is that YouTube is giving bot responses to the thread. So, I guess they don't care. It's insane. It's insane to me. It's just insane to me. It keeps happening. But I guess we have some good news for content creators if you celebrate being an American. I don't. I'm not an American. Take a look at this. President Trump expanded no tax and tapes to cover streamers and other online creators. Look at this. Beautiful. Digital content creators produce and publish on digital platforms original entertainment or personally driven content, such as live streams, short-form videos, or podcasts. Streamer, online video creator, social media influencer, podcaster. And you're just below clowns. I've been mentioning this for way too long. What's the difference between a streamer and a clown, truly? Just an internet clown. Dance for me. Dance for me, clown. So that's pretty nice. That's pretty nice. But there's more interesting stuff going on with YouTubers, at least. Tubers. Do you like hack VTubers? Boy, do I have good news for you. VTuber agency launches rental branding business to help young people. Yes, there are actual hacks this time, not just 25 plus. A Japanese VTuber agency has launched its first virtual rental branding service, which allows customers to interact with real-life grandmas aged 25 and above. Japan often makes headlines for its extravagant rental service industry, with everything from rental girlfriends and boyfriends to whole families available for hire. Customers can even rent a Japanese grandma who will cook for them and do housework. Don't know how to feel about that. That seems a little bit strange. Let grandma rest. guess they have the option to work on that, I suppose. vtuber agency, Auto Group has kept with the grandma theme, but taken things in an entirely new direction. Unlike other rental services, Auto Group's Rental Granny allows users to receive counseling from a virtual grandma. The service costs around 3,000 something, probably means Japanese yen, right? Around 20 USD, and you'll get 60 minutes to sit down and talk to virtual grandma via Zoom or Google Meet. Google Meet. Yeah, they're all right. That checks out. However, according to IT Media, customers can even make requests that don't just adhere to online meetings, with one example being paying them to appear in a movie. Oh, I wonder how that works. As for why the Rental Granny vtuber service was launched, Auto Group believes it has a positive impact in helping both the elderly grandmothers and employees and the young people who choose to use the service. Yo, 86! Now that's a hag. In a translated response via automaton, the company stated, "We have realized that the experience of having someone that can rely on you greatly contributes to the well-being of the elderly. By creating a service which every old lady can participate in, our goal is to boost the self-esteem of the elderly, while also helping resolve issues of young people in urban areas as well." I mean, not only urban, I suppose, but yeah, why not? So it seems the sky's the limit for Japan's bustling rental service industry. And vtuber technology isn't just for the young, but also the young at heart. Is this a jab at me? Is this a jab? What's going on here? And I think this is actually really nice and really interesting. Something I have realized while becoming older is that your elders, your actual elders, maybe your grandparents and whatnot, actually hold a lot of wisdom and a lot of information. Why? Because they're old, mainly. But I do believe that nowadays, getting that information from the family, that wisdom, all of that, is kind of being lost. I'm not quite sure why. Maybe because people don't really live as close as before. Maybe it could be because, well, the grandparents living in more rural areas, but younger families move to the city. I guess that's also pretty much the same. There's this growing disdain of older people. What do you know? You don't know anything. You're just an old man. You're just an old woman. I just have the internet. Or you'd be surprised by the amount of things old people could tell you, especially about more traditional stuff, right? Like, I don't know, construction and farming. I still think that's really useful nowadays. Have you seen the current state of the world? Yeah, that can always be useful. And sure, I understand that sometimes their knowledge might be a little bit too old. Just go in, give them a firm handshake, and you will get the job. That's not how it works anymore, right? But it's still a modern way of keeping traditional wisdom, quote-unquote traditional, not necessarily, but that's really nice. I like this. And, well, you can still be a engaging VTuber. Please engage with the videos. It's not on me, it's on YouTube. You can still be an engaging content creator and VTuber when you're really old, so that's pretty cool. I mean, it's not like content creation has an age limit. I actually say that the older the better, just like in real life. This is really interesting. Speaking of jobs, I guess... let me look this up. Where was this? I wasn't gonna mention this right now, but I guess I should. I found this tweet the other day. Speaking of jobs, do you know that jobs are kind of fucked nowadays? Nowadays, plural. Not only that. I mean, not only in the USA, but it seems like, especially in the USA, that's really strange. They were received on copyright, okay, ESL, more ESL than me, you know that's right. They were received a copyright notice from Instacart about this job ad. Our records indicate they had 9 logged applications from users. Unfortunately, our hosting provider is requiring us to take it down. So going forward, you won't see any Instacart ads on the main website. However, we will continue to post jobs from the instant carting company we found on this account. DMCA from a fucking job ad? Huh? What are you talking about? What is going on here? Yo, that's crazy. What's the DMCA? I haven't gone through this. Let's take a look. Can we see everything? No, we cannot. It's fine, let me serenade you. It will be okay. I need to be a little bit big to read. I guess I'm too old. Maybe my sight is not as good anymore. God fucking damn it, you stupid ass game. I'm still mad. I'm still really mad. To whom it may concern, we hereby notify you on behalf of Instacart and its affiliate companies, collectively Instacart, the following URL, this, which you are hosting contains content, the infringing content, which infringes the intellectual property rights, goodwill, and reputation of Instacart. Ah, yes, the reputation excuse. My favorite. Including but not limited to the following trademarks. Instacart, owned by Instacart. Okay, that makes sense. Such unauthorized use of the infringing content in the URL infringes on the intellectual property rights, goodwill, and reputation of Instacart, and causes consumer confusion as to whether the infringing content is authorized, endorsed, or sponsored by Instacart when in fact it is not. It's a job listing! What are you talking about? What? Instacart has an obligation to the public to police against any infringing website content which may cause consumer marketplace confusion. Apparently that's all a single word. Marketplace confusion. What a mouthful. Such actions dilute Instacart, a bunch of numbers. I'm assuming that's the trademark number. Don't know how it works. Harm its associated goodwill and constitute inter alia a misappropriation and violation of the rights of Instacart. This damage to its business entitles Instacart to various forms of relief, including monetary compensation. It's a job listing! What are you talking about? What? That's insane. And apparently, from what I've seen, not necessarily with this, but in general, there has been a lot of obfuscation with job listings recently in the USA. Why, you might ask? Well, if you have the job listings, but nobody applies, then you can have the excuse to, well, maybe we need more immigrants. Maybe we should be issuing more H1Bs. That's disgusting. I think... Oh, shit. Who was it? I don't have it on tap. It's a shame. I guess I have a meme for that. I think it was Microsoft? It was a big company. Maybe I should mention that on stream. I'm not sure. But they just fired a bunch of, let's say, nationals. And they hired more than the same amount of Africans. I have a meme for that in a little bit. I want to finish this. Do I even need to? It's really strange anyway. I don't remember where it was. But yeah, copyright infringement for job listings. And the meme, where's the meme? I guess this is topical, so I'm gonna mention it here. Microsoft is a corporation that turns Microsoft CEO claims 30% of its new code is written by AI into Windows 11 update, this number here, reportedly causing SSD failures. Unlimited immigrant works. Holy moly, dude. Holy moly. I was actually talking about that with my mother yesterday. It's kind of fucking hilarious when you think about it. This is not the USA, right? So, what happened in recent history here is not what happened to the USA, but also a similar vein of what's been going on. Because I was mentioning, right, how people, especially young people, keep criticizing, the evil right wing. They're an absolute malady, a bane to society. And I was like, the fuck do you mean right wing? Young people in this country have not lived through right wing governments. They technically have, but not really. The last right wing government we had was extremely globalist. So it was barely right wing anyway. The last actual right wing government we had was more than 20 years ago. These teenagers don't know fucking anything. It's hilarious. And the usual excuse you have here about, oh no, the evil right wing, that's why economy is so fucked. It's right wing and healthcare. And we're mentioning, okay, but 20 years ago, healthcare was actually good. Nowadays, God, I don't want to be sick. Full of people, and the... I guess I'm gonna call them professionals, because they are getting paid, allegedly, are complete trash. They don't know anything. And, of course, people that study medicine in this country, if they want to have some semblance of an actual future, they need to go to other countries, which may have better economy, and they may actually get paid what they deserve. So what do we get here? Doctors from shithole countries, so it's really bad. That's hilarious. That's really hilarious. That's the compound between immigration, left-wing policies, globalism, corruption. I feel like I said the same thing like 3 times in a row. It's really ass. It's really ass. Shit was way better 20 years ago. It's insanity. It's insanity to me. But I guess we can talk about video games for a little bit. SCD talks maybe. For a while, it's not gonna be long. Hear this. Evo will be fully funded by Saudi Arabia, mentioned the moveset. At Evo organizers, RTS has been fully acquired by Saudi Arabian megacity project Qiddiya. I don't know how to say that. Oh boy! That's really interesting. On the same note, we also have this. Breaking news. Liquor reveals future Evo hangouts will include pronoun preferences. Oh, I wonder why. I wonder why. Yeah, makes sense. Yeah, makes sense. What did the Muslims mean by this? You know why. You know why, you know what. And we also have more clone shenanigans by Sony. Sony's reducing the storage of the PS5 Slim from 1TB to 825 GB in Europe with the upcoming SVI 210 model. The price of €500 will stay the same. It's fucking hilarious. This system is kinda old at this point. It's been what, 5 years since it's released? Doesn't have games, but it's been like 5 years, maybe even more. The price has been going up instead of down, and what you get for your buck is actually worse. Congratulations, Sony, you killed yourself. Well, not yourself, Sony's not going to die. But PlayStation? PlayStation might. Well, if it's so mighty, why does it have games? Hilarious. Hilarious. Okay, what do we have here? What about more censorship? Don't you love censorship? I don't, but I need to talk about it. From Polygon. Steam's Visa, MasterCard, and censorship fiasco just keeps deteriorating. Game developers are being denied early access, while others are struggling to get paid in the ongoing saga. Oh boy! The thing that never happens keeps happening. It's been about 2 months since Steam started cracking down on adult games following pressures from payment processing companies like Visa and MasterCard. Despite campaigns from concerned fans, things don't seem to be going any better. Right now, players, game developers, and even Valve itself are losing out on what's increasingly looking like an anti-porn war being waged on the internet at large. They keep calling it anti-porn, and I had to say this. Okay, when the ID verification rolled out on Twitter, what was the first thing to get censored? Anti-immigration protests. I wonder why. It's just fucking control. It's nothing new. Come on. Much of the initial furor had to do with Steam's decision to delist adult games, and the way Valve's shotgun approach saw titles that feature mature themes, not necessarily explicit sex, caught in the crossfire. Not that new. If you remember about, remember the name of the game. Spicy was a dungeon crawler featuring a bunch of women. That's not saying much, I know. I talked about it some time ago. Can you find the video, maybe? That apparently only GOG was gonna have it. Let me see here. And they had a lot of trouble trying to bring that into the West. Even though they didn't have actual porn or anything. So that's really strange. Has it been really that long? I guess it was. I don't mention the name here. Well, that's a problem. But yeah, there were some just spicy games that that's not allowed for some reason. That was really strange. When you have literally poor games on Steam, or had at least, and even a lot of stuff like Nicopara, so I don't know. Nowhere is this more evident than with PayPal's decision to pull out of a swath of countries with the business on Steam, which it directly attributes to the wider Visa and MasterCard adult games debacle. Yeah, it's like a payment processor for another payment processor, so cannot get much worse than that. More recently, the fight against censorship has transitioned from dealing with games that were already greenlit by Valve and sold to nipping. Now you're being silly with wording. The prospects in the bud. The developer behind the video game called Heavy Hearts say they were recently informed that their application for Steam Early Access was rejected by Valve, because the company could no longer support the model for games with mature themes. I mean, I understand that having these games could pose a problem for the platform, but you have filters for that, and I believe by default you can't see spicy content anyway. So, what's the problem? What's the problem? There's also the thing about, in some countries, you need to verify with ID your account to prove that you are more than 18 plus, even when the account is already more than 18 years old itself. Hilarity. Heavy Heart is an RPG with loot content that sets itself apart from the usual novel adult game scene by instead providing an action-oriented fantasy game. Notably, Heavy Hearts already has a page in Steam, where the platform lists it as coming soon. Well, yeah, that's a suspicious name. The developers behind the fantasy RPG called the Restoration of Aphrodisia, surely that's not spicy at all, which features tactical hexagon battles, say they received a similar message from Valve regarding the game's acceptance to the Early Access program. The reaction came as a surprise to both devs, because there's nothing currently in Steam's documentation that seems to prohibit this type of content from Early Access. And if that was the case, well, it's against the rules. You can argue that the rules are bad, but unless they're following the rules, which is not something that happens a lot nowadays. What's more, there are already adult games in the Early Access program. Huh. Which suggests that this is a recent pivot on Valve's part. Yes, it's pretty obvious. But we also have the actual proof. Speaking of nipping, up here. Don't look, don't wanna get banned. Developers who make adult games seem to be getting thwarted left and right, from seemingly every step in the sales process. I don't know if it can just go to itch.io. Maybe just the kind of a bad solution. Getting a Steam at all is the first hurdle. Should the game succeed there and get sold on the world's most popular PC gaming platform, there's no guarantee the developers will see the fruits of their labor. In August, one anonymous Steam game developer went viral after posting on Reddit, claiming that PayPal was withholding £100,000! That's a lot of money. I don't know exactly this change to USD. It's gotta be close to 150,000 USD if I'm not mistaken. In other news made from programming and adult gaming Steam. Allegedly after the payment processor discovered the nature of the unnamed game. Payment processor! It is not for you to decide what to do with the money, because that money is not yours. It was from the customers, and now it's for the dev. This is quite literally stealing. This is piracy. I guess pirating games is justified after all. You wouldn't pirate the bank, would you? Surely not. If only it was that easy. The developer says they were told it violated PayPal's terms of service and have since spent weeks trying to recover the money. What makes the situation particularly painful is that the game developer resorted to PayPal after having issues with regular banks, which forced them to find alternate means of doing business online. You will not be free to work as you please. It's not allowed. Congratulations. Having business accounts closed down by 3 major high street banks and rejected by almost every app bank, like Wise, Revolut, my bad, etc., the developer wrote. And that's extremely funny when you know, because we've mentioned this so many times before, how the likes of Visa and MasterCard, and I bet also PayPal, but I'm not so sure, have no problem working with OnlyFans. And as we've seen before, OnlyFans had actual illegal content, 18 plus, and they didn't care. No, it's the gamer's fault. God fucking damn it. All the while, Steam's reputation with gamers continues to plummet. That's probably one of the objectives of all this. Steam is so cool. What if they're forced to not be cool anymore? In particular, gamers in the UK have voiced dissatisfaction as the platform implements age verification measures before allowing users to view adult content. The move comes in the wake of the UK Online Safety Act, which purports to keep children safe on the internet. You know what would be the best fix for that instead of a law? Lash the parents. Just lash them. Just whip them out. We just like whipping. Have them act as actual parents. But of course, that was never the objective. It was always control to the population. The legislation helps to curb access to illegal material as well as age-inappropriate content. Illegal material, by the way, like anti-immigration protests or games with spicy themes, I suppose, which includes pornographic media. As a platform that disseminates games with not safe for work content, Steam falls I'm struggling under the purview of the law. By its nature, age verification was not destined to be embraced by a community that's been repeatedly riled up over the censorship of adult games. I mean, of course not. But the biggest issue with Steam's implementation of age verification is that Valve is asking people to use credit cards to confirm their age. I've already used cards to pay for stuff on Steam. If that will come to my country, which will probably happen, why do I have to use that? At the same time, having a credit card is not a sign of being an adult. Funny enough. While credit cards are common, some people elect not to have them. Like me, I don't have credit cards. Others simply aren't eligible to get a credit card, as many providers require a specific amount of income before someone is eligible to apply for it. A credit card requirement may hit students the hardest, as some young adults with full course loads cannot meet the minimum income requirements even if they work part-time. Also, what if you're just in college, man? The fuck are you gonna do? You might be like 21 in college with a job yet. Fuck are you supposed to do? Well, get fucked. Steam is also not accepting debit card as proof. Cool! Cool. What the hell? Forcing people to get credit cards is very wrong. It feels like this is a scam. This feels like an attempt just to get information to your credit cards, just to use it for dangerous purposes. I'm not talking about the Steam in this case. But it just feels like that, so you know it's bad. It's wrong. Incense Reddit thread. It's such a long extra step and irresponsible to force people to potentially spend more than they have. Well, you will owe nothing and you will be happy. It's also a path to that, I suppose. The credit card verification snafu follows another high-profile age verification misstep levied against gamers, when this required its UK users to upload a photograph of themselves. Discord users soon found that they could bypass age verification by uploading pictures of realistic video games, including Norman Reedus as Sam Bridges in Death Stranding. I've seen some of those tweets. Absolutely hilarious. In both cases, the companies implemented age verification were trying to comply with the UK Online Safety Act. If you can cheat it, do it. Both of these age verification attempts have had mixed results. They elucidated a wider trend to tamp down on pornographic material on the internet. The timing of it all is increasingly raising eyebrows, especially as people pay more attention to the titles described in Project 2025. You fucking bitch! It's not Project 2025! It's not the Conservatives! What are you talking about? The UK is not being ruled by the right wing right now? What are you talking about? Stop fucking lying! I'm about to completely discard everything that's been said here at this point in time. They just made it a partisan issue when it's not. It's a censorship issue. We talked about this before. We read through the fucking article. It's not Project 2025 because it has been happening in the UK, governed by the left wing. It's been happening in the European Union, mostly a bunch of fucking commies. It's not fucking Trump. Shut up. God fucking damn it. It's Project 2025. You know what? Fuck you. Fuck you. God damn it. God fucking damn it. Censorship shouldn't be a partisan issue, and you keep making it a partisan issue. You know who loses when you do that? All of us. God, I hate these people with a burning passion. It's crazy. It's crazy. Make me mad. Make me mad. What else do we have here? Speaking of censorship, I suppose. Rule of the law that banned assassination class from blocked by judge. Well, that blocking is actually good. If Florida law that was used by conservative groups to ban Assassination Classroom and other famous anime titles has been overturned by a federal judge. Signed into law in 2022 but expanded in 2023, the law was struck down on the basis of it being a violation of the First Amendment right to free speech. See? That's how it works! The Florida bill did two things in relation to book censorship. Demanded school libraries to remove any book containing obscene content. I guess that could be reasonable. And it empowered any resident of any county in Florida to demand any remaining titles removal from the libraries. Well, that may be a little bit too much. We covered how this law was used to ban Assassination Classroom in one Florida county in 2023. But it was just the beginning, with pen.org documenting nearly 5,000 cases of banned books in Florida, the highest in the nation. Okay, actual banned books are just not allowed in schools, because that's not the same. Manga fans were not the only ones critical of the bill that was just overturned. The bill was also criticized by leftist activists, who called it the Don't Say Gay bill due to provision in the bill banning students from learning about LGBT+ issues in school. That's actually a lie. It's not because of the... It's not Don't Say Gay, it's Don't Talk to Kids about sexual stuff, which... somewhat reasonable, I would say. Aside from obvious biological implications. And it was not just in general, it was up to, what, 3rd grade, which is not a lot. How old is that? Like 10 years? I have no idea. It's not a lot. It's not a lot. Starting in late 2024, conservative activists affiliated with Moms for Liberty started demanding the removal of all manga titles and light novels from schools and public libraries. This follows a trend of activists in conservative leaning states such as Texas and North Carolina moving to censor anime. We covered the attempts of Texas Republicans to criminalize the owning of anime such as Goblin Slayer and many other titles. Of course, this is wrong, but as we see, it's not a partisan issue. Yes, in this case, it's right-leaning. Are you gonna tell me the left wing in the UK is the right? Come on. Come on. Even the right wing in Europe is just so gay. It's more to the left than the fucking Democrats, sometimes. Ron DeSantis is about to appeal the ruling all the way to the Supreme Court. Judge Carlos Mendoza, the judge who overturned the Florida bill, is an Obama appointee. That makes sense. It's anyone's guess, and the more conservative Supreme Court will rule. No fucking idea. The only thing I can tell you, censorship bad. What else? What else do we have here? Japanese lawmaker Yamada Taro confronts financial censorship. Global payment systems hold the power to raise creators without explanation, but some lawmakers are paying attention. Yamada Taro once again. I love that man. No homo. On August 25th, a group of executives, bureaucrats, and risk managers sat in a confidential meeting room somewhere in Japan to discuss why some people who make comics and games can no longer get paid. That sounds so stupid if it's your first time hearing about this. It sounds insane. The meeting wasn't on the official calendar. You won't find the press release, but according to Liberal Democratic Party lawmaker Yamada Taro, it happened. And the people who showed up represented the international financial bottleneck that now determines which legal businesses are allowed to function. We held an inner meeting in the... Excuse me. I'm full of chicken. We held an inner meeting of the Film Industry Strategy Promotion Research Group to discuss the credit card issue, given the post on Twitter. We gather international brands, acquirers, payment processing companies, merchants, relevant government agencies, and others to freely and openly discuss the causes of the situation that can be described as financial censorship, its specific solutions, and other matters. So I don't need to read the tweet, you're gonna tell me about it, right? Not quite, okay. The conditions that specific attendees and content would be kept confidential to facilitate frank opinion exchange. We conducted straightforward discussions. The perceptions of the stakeholders from their respective positions became much clearer, marking significant progress. We will continue to address the solution of the credit card issue. Yamada Taro, 43. What about the other 42? What happened? Yamada described the gathering as frank, though it was conducted under a confidentiality agreement. Yamada came away feeling optimistic. Okay, we just read this. I guess I made a mistake again, it's fine. In other words, a handful of companies with global financial influence were brought together to explain why they keep cutting off payment processing to legal Japanese creators. No public explanation, no record, no specifics, but we were told progress was made. I understand why they had to be so confidential, but at the same time, having more information would be pretty useful for us normies. The problem isn't the new one, but it's grown louder. Platforms that distribute manga, adult games, and independently produced fiction have spent the past few years quietly disappearing from payment networks. We've been talking about this since late 2023, I'm afraid. This shit doesn't come from Japanese government. It comes from the payment stack, the maze of card brands, processors, acquiring banks, and bank compliance partners. That sounds really bad. I don't know what that means. Who get to decide what kinds of lawful content should be flagged? If the content is lawful, it's not for you to decide what I can do with my money. It's really obvious, but I keep saying that. I need to keep saying it, I mean. Last month, MasterCard insisted it had nothing to do with it. Whoa! What a lie! After a wave of games were delisted from platforms like Steam and itch, the company released a statement on August 1st. The rushing of events didn't match what publishers had already experienced. Why are you lying? Why are you lying to me? The terms of the warning were never public. There was no explanation for who selected the flagged keywords, how the review was conducted, or what the content violated. The only detail that mattered was the deadline. Delete the material, or lose access to MasterCard, Visa, and the rest of the global payment web. But it was not MasterCard, guys, come on. Come on, they will never lie to you. Do you think they're just taking your money for granted? That would never happen. That would never happen. Yamada has built his reputation around defending financial freedom and employee censorship. That's why I like this guy. He has criticized major payment processors like Visa and MasterCard for using internal compliance programs to pressure platforms into restricting legal content, warning that such practices are nothing more than financial censorship. Yeah, pretty much. In 2024, he even traveled to Visa's headquarters in San Francisco to challenge the overreach into lawful transactions involving Japanese citizens and creators. Yamada has also campaigned for legal reforms to protect expression in manga, anime, and digital content. I think that was the first time I read about this guy. I don't really follow a lot of Japanese politics, but I know what happened with this. I don't really know what happened here. I will mind knowing more. Still no official record of what was said in that closed-door meeting on August 25th. But the stakes are clear enough. A handful of foreign companies are shipping the boundaries of lawful expression in Japan, not through legislation, but through payment systems. If it's legal, why is it banned? Once again, if it's legal, why is it banned? I have no fucking idea, aside from the usual. It's just control, which is always bad. Hold up. Just looking at something here. Unless that changes, creators will keep losing their livelihoods with no explanation and no recourse. No comments. Shame. I mean, I hope something comes out from that, but I think it might be way too late when you have actual governments saying the exact same shit. Well, maybe something like this is not allowed. And if you think it's bad when companies are censoring you, it's gonna be even worse when we talk about the government. Because they can actually throw you in jail if need be. Which is not good. I know, right? Being in jail for censorship? Yeah, that might be bad. That might be bad. But what else? What else is hilarious here? Is that they keep telling, because as we've seen in some of these articles, we need to stop illegal content. I'm like, okay, sure, illegal content is bad because it's illegal, right? We can all agree here that maybe spicy content depicting minors, yeah, I think that's illegal, and I think that should be illegal. I think that's wrong. I don't mind if people are punished because of that. There's a problem. Germany's 2024 report finds 48%, pretty much half, CSAM, that is, spicy content depicting minors, scan error rate amid EU push for private messaging scanning. False positives flood the system, but the EU still wants to make the scan permanent and mandatory. Gets it wrong half of the time. So it's literally a coin toss, so it's literally an RNG fiesta. And they want to make this European law? Huh? Okay, alright, Germany, whatever you say. I mean, it's Germany, I shouldn't be surprised, but still, I'm still disappointed. The latest figures from Japan... I was just reading about Japan. Look, they were Alice in World War II, okay? It's not my fault. Latest figures from German law enforcement offer a stark warning about the dangers of expanding surveillance under the EU's controversial chat control proposals, which I think is voted next month, it's not looking good. In 24 alone, I'm slurring again. I don't do it on purpose, I just want to be fast. In 2024 alone, nearly half of all tips Germany received through the existing voluntary scanning system were false alarms. This in nearly half, and yes, it's nearly half, 48%. You could say it's half? That wouldn't be a lie. According to the Federal Criminal Police Office, 99,375 of the 205,728 reports forwarded by the US-based National Center for Missing and Exploited Children were not criminally relevant. Not criminally relevant. An error rate of 48.3%. I do remember when I was in school studying technology, electricity and all that. I was on the engineering side of high school and all that. A margin of error of more than 5% was usually bad. Here they have almost 50%! And we're supposed to be okay with it? Come on, man. It's a rise from 2023, when the number of false positives already stood at 9,950. Didn't mention the number of reports in that year. Many of these reports are generated by private tech companies such as Meta, Microsoft, and Google. Why is it always these three? Which scan users' communications involuntarily for possible child sexual abuse material, pass them to the NCMEC. Okay, but this is really suspicious, right? I don't know about Microsoft, I don't know about Google, but Meta, that's a Facebook company, they own apps like WhatsApp. If you go on WhatsApp, it will tell you, it's encrypted end to end. The company shouldn't be able to access that content. So that was a fucking lie, I'm assuming. You can just be spied anyway. Cool. I mentioned this before as a half joke. It's becoming a reality. Communication through the internet? No. I'm gonna be training some pigeons. That seems like the safest way. Even though there are some people in the region that actually eat them. I don't know if they're minorities, I don't know if they're just poor people, I don't know if they're just crazy. But that's happening. Under the current Chat Control 1.0 framework, this system does not apply to end-to-end encrypted services, and it's not mandatory. Bullshit. They want to do this too, because we read about this. Even within those limits, the system is flooding police with inaccurate data. 48.3%. As the European Commission pushes forward with Chat Control 2.0, which is to make CSAM scanning mandatory and expand it to encrypted messaging platforms, the 2024 PKA report raises critical doubts about the approach. Not only is it a huge violation of privacy, it's probably against European law, which they obviously don't give a fuck. It's a big problem for security. Huh. The proposal would effectively ban end-to-end encrypted messages under the guise of child safety. Yet, if nearly half of the reports under a limited voluntary regime are false, the implications for scaling it up further are serious. It's not gonna be because of CP, you know, that's... Oh, what did you say about the government? To jail. That's what you get. Surveillance is being implemented to combat abuse. Even when the mechanisms of detecting abuse are inaccurate, and people's personal content is being falsely flagged and forwarded to authorities. Mass surveillance is being implemented. Only technically correct because this is the European Union. When they did add the, I don't know how many thousands of cameras they have in the UK, being implemented, by the way. Mass inspection will not only risk overwhelming law enforcement with irrelevant data, but would also undermine secure communications across Europe by forcing providers to break encryption or insert client-side scanning mechanisms. Beyond the practical failures, the invasive nature of chat control proposals cannot be ignored. By pushing for real-time monitoring of private conversations, the policy targets the core of personal privacy. The assumption that every user is a potential suspect leads to widespread, suspicionless scanning, raising concerns that go well beyond the fight against abuse. I do remember something about the law. Should also be happening in Europe and the European Union. Maybe not, maybe I was wrong all along. Something about how do you say this? Ah shit, I completely forgot the wording. I can look it up. It's fine, I can look it up. I can look it up. What's I just said? I don't know about that. But yeah, you're innocent until proven guilty. This is, you're a suspect until proven otherwise, which should never happen in modern society. But once again, it's just a way to instill more control, it's just a way to instill more fear, it's a way to completely destroy political opponents, which is really, really funny to me. Nothing new. Of course, they just fill their mouths with, you have to understand, it's for democracy. Democracy or democracy? Does it make sense? Demonocracy? I'm not quite sure, I think I killed the joke. But you know what I mean. Democracy? Get the fuck out of here. Democracy my ass. And you keep forcing all of this bullshit into people that don't want it. Democracy, by the way. Oh, what a humane society this is. And speaking of security in mobile devices, I've been talking about this for a while. I know I mentioned this several times, how phones are really weak in general. It doesn't matter how secure your app is, because the phones are just trash. ICE obtains access to Israeli-made spyware that can hack phones and encrypted apps. But I was told something like that couldn't happen. You haven't seen anything yet. Trump administration contract with Paragon Solutions gives immigration agency access to one of the most powerful stealth cyber weapons. It's kinda fucking long, but I think it's gonna be worth it. US immigration agents will have access to one of the world's most sophisticated hacking tools after a decision by Trump administration to move ahead with a contract with Paragon Solutions, a company founded in Israel which makes spyware that can be used to hack into any mobile phone, including encrypted applications. And make no mistake about it, sure, this has maybe real advanced and whatnot, hacking into phones, really easy. It's not my area of expertise. Phones? Yes. Security? Sadly, no. You need to go to college for that one. But I'm seeing people just completely fucking phones without being, as far as I know, it's really tech, so you know it's bad. The Department of Homeland Security first entered into a contract with Paragon, now owned by a US firm, in late 2024 under the Biden administration. The $2 million USD contract was put on hold pending a compliance review to make sure it adhered to an executive order that restricts the US government's use of spyware, widely reported at the time. Don't remember that. That pause has not been lifted, according to public procurement documents, which list the US Immigration and Customs Enforcement, ICE, as the contracting agency. It means that one of the most powerful stealth cyber weapons ever created, which was produced outside the US, which could be a problem, is now in the hands of an agency that has repeatedly been accused by civil and human rights groups of violating people's due process rights. Look, I do believe that profiling is fair. I do believe that profiling is fair. That might feel wrong, that might seem wrong, But it kinda works. There was first supported by journalist Jack Paulson on his All Source Intelligence Substack newsletter. And the program or ICE immediately responded to the request for comment. They're not gonna do it. That's not gonna happen. When successfully deployed against the target, the hacking software called Graphite. This name sounds familiar for some reason. Can hack into any phone. By essentially taking control of the mobile phone, the user, in this case ICE, can not only track individuals' whereabouts, read their messages, look at their photographs, look at this photograph, but also open and read information held on encrypted applications like WhatsApp or Signal. Even fucking Signal, that's crazy. Spyware like Graphite can also be used as a listening device through the manipulation of the phone's recorder. So fucking mad for setting permissions, am I right? Executive order signed by the Biden administration set to establish some guardrails around the US government's use of spyware. It said that the US shall not make operational use of commercial spyware that poses significant counterintelligence or security risks to the United States government, or significant risk of improper use by a foreign government or foreign person. I don't think they were wrong with this, for once. Well, the Biden administration also took a extraordinary step of placing one of Paragon's rival spyware makers, NSO Group, on Commerce Department blacklist, saying the company had knowingly supplied foreign governments to maliciously target the phones of dissidents, human rights activists, and journalists. I mean, mother journalists, do we care? Are we sure? Watch, holy shit. Paragon has sought to differentiate itself from NSO Group. It has said that, unlike NSO, which previously sold the spyware to Saudi Arabia and other regimes, that's not a Pokemon, right? No, that's Reggie. That it only does business with democracies. Okay, alright, interesting. As I said, it has a no-tolerance policy and will cut off government clients, use the spyware to target members of civil society, such as journalists. I don't know if they have that amount of control. If they do, they're also spying, so that's also bad. Paragon refuses to disclose who its clients are, and has said it does not have insight into how its clients use the technology against targets. Spyware makers like Paragon and NSO have said their products are intended to be used to prevent crime and terrorist attacks, but both companies' software has been used in the past to target innocent people, including individuals who have been perceived to be government enemies. Chief Scott Felton, a senior researcher at the Citizen Lab at the University of Toronto, was one of the world's leading experts on cases in which spyware like Graphite has been abused by governments, stating a statement that such tools were designed for dictatorships, not democracies built on liberty and protection of individual rights. Holy fucking shit, how did that happen, huh? Now that's funny. Invasive secret hacking power is corrupting. That's why there's a growing pile of spyware scandals in democracies, including with Paragon's Graphite, he said, referring to controversy in Italy that erupted late last year. How is it possible? I'm agreeing with a Canadian. What is life? How did that happen? Paragon broke off its ties with Italy after it was revealed that 90 people, including journalists and members of civil society, in 2,000 countries, not counties, countries, have been targeted with this spyware. The individuals who were targeted by the Italian government included human rights activists who have been critical of Italy's dealings with Libya, several journalists who were also targeted, though it is still unclear who ordered those hacking attacks. The US government has in the past resisted using spyware technology made outside the USA, because of concerns that any company that sells technology to multiple government agencies around the world represents a potential security risk. They do. And you fell for it. Congratulations. You played yourself. As long as the same mercenary spyware tech is going to multiple governments, there's a baked-in counterintelligence risk. Since all of them now know what secret surveillance tech the US is using, it's probably spying through it too, and we have special insights on how to detect it and track what the US is doing with it, Scott Felton said. Short of Paragon cancelling all foreign contracts, I'm not sure how this goes away. Nadine Farid Johnson, policy director of the Knight First Amendment Institute at Columbia University, which is dedicated to free speech advocacy, said news of the IS contract. Just capitalized the I don't know why. Combated civil liberty concerns surrounding the rapid and dramatic expansion of ISIS budget and authority. If you want to crack down on illegal immigration, you have to spend on it. It kinda makes sense. I don't know about the authority though. She also called on Congress to step in and limit the circumstances in which spyware could be deployed. Spyware like Paragon's graphite poses a profound threat to free speech and privacy. Holy shit, dude, what? It's already being used against journalists, human rights advocates, and political dissidents around the world. The weightlifting of the stop work order also raises the troubling prospect that parts of the executive branch are acting without adherence to the government's own vetting requirements. Yeah, it's kind of silly. My point was to say that this technology exists, and it's after your ass. Congratulations. Not just the Israelis, okay? Not just the Israelis. How much do they have here? What time is it? Okay, we have like half an hour still. That's good. Okay, we roll a little bit. How about we go back to games for a second? I'll take another sip. I'm parched. God damn. I will need to refill the bottle later. The women. The women! Women in games! From University of Stirling. This is UK, so you know it's bad. Women experience guilt, shame, and exclusion in gaming culture as to defines. Researchers surveyed 1,000 women of all ages across the UK who play mobile games. Ah, yes. The mobile game. Hilarious. A new study has found that women experience guilt and shame around playing games, and this is related to feeling excluded from the traditionally male pastime. Study surveyed 1,000 women of all ages across the UK who play mobile games. The most popular way for women to play, yeah, I know. I had felt about gaming. My count. Yeah, I don't know about that. The research was led by Dr. Steph Rennick, lecturer in interactive media at the University of Stirling, Dr. Sean Roberts, lecturer in communication at Cardiff University, in partnership with Swedish gaming studio Undone Games. There's a great number of women gamers, with 51% of women now gaming in some capacity, compared to 53% of men. I don't think they count. Phone games, do they even count? I don't know about that. Playing Candy Crush doesn't count, women. I'm sorry to tell you this. Compared to 53% of men, however, women are still underrepresented in many game genres and the content of the games. Oh, they tried. They've been trying to do that for what? Most of the past 2 decades. Both in movies, games, comics, whatever. You know what happened? It didn't work. We need to make Star Wars different so it appeals to women. And you know what happened? You killed the IP. How did you do that? How did you kill Star Wars? It's insane. No, women didn't get into Star Wars. I'm sorry. In survey, 31% of women agree that playing games is one of the things they must look forward to each day. But almost 60% felt that they did not play enough games to consider themselves a gamer. And more than 30% agreed that they would be embarrassed to call themselves one. Why is this wrong? Why is this bad? If I were to just play, I don't know, just a little bit of Candy Crush, yeah, I wouldn't count. I wouldn't call myself a gamer. I don't even call myself a gamer, because I don't like the use of the tag, but that's a different issue. But yeah, that makes sense. My mother loves puzzle games. She wouldn't call herself a gamer. Do they even count? I don't know. Maybe. Probably not. That's not what in gaming at large means, anyway. Significant numbers. That's the running said. The study shows many women feel excluded from video game culture, with significant numbers of women feeling guilty about playing video games and worrying about what others think of them taking time to play games. You're mixing two completely different things. Significant numbers of women feeling guilty about playing video games. That has nothing to do with video game culture. For video game culture, yeah, that would make sense for you to play games, right? Come on. It's about society. The other society. The normie society. What, you're a woman and you play games? What are you, some sort of a strange weirdo? Yeah, who cares? Honestly, who cares? Interestingly, feeling guilty or keeping secrets about gaming did not correlate with how much time women spend playing games. We expected a significant proportion of women to report feelings of guilt around playing video games and taking leisure time more generally. But while we thought feelings of guilt or shame would have a negative impact on the amount of time women spend playing games, we didn't find such a connection. Those who feel guilty or keep secrets don't play less, but they feel worse. Oh, okay. Yeah, I mean, that makes sense. You do it because you like it. Feeling guilt is just stupid. But that has nothing to do with video game culture. If it was to appeal to video game culture, the more you play, the better, right? Wow, what a gamer. Finished the last, I don't know, Solstice Lab in like 15 minutes, that's crazy. Impressive grinding, and all that. Yes, using machine learning techniques to identify connections in the data, the expert found some striking patterns. For example, younger players were more likely to feel guilty while playing video games, with those aged 16 to 24 being 3 times more likely to strongly agree that they feel guilty about taking time to play than those aged 55 plus. What's wrong with kids nowadays, dude? What the hell? What are you supposed to do? Make TikToks? Shut up! Guilt also seemed to be related to whether women felt they fit into gaming culture, with 60% of women surveyed saying that they do not play enough games to consider themselves a gamer. Women were twice as likely to feel guilty if they thought that gaming was mainly a male pastime, 46% versus 23%, or if they said they would be embarrassed to call themselves a gamer. Well, that makes sense. 55% versus 35%. In contrast, women who felt that occasionally playing any game made you a gamer were 42% less likely to feel guilty. But occasionally playing any game doesn't make you a gamer. You just like to play games from time to time, and that's okay. Fucking identification bullshit, dude. It's so ass. It's always ass. It's insane. Survey also found that 75% of respondents classified themselves as casual gamers. Makes sense. But a quarter of these were also spending more time than an hour per day playing video games on PC or console. Is it controversial to say that playing a lot doesn't make you a hardcore gamer? What if you spend like 3 hours a day just playing puzzle games? Are you a hardcore gamer? Probably not. But you play a lot, I guess. Historically, even most women who spend more than 5 hours a day playing games on mobile, console or PC, only 1 in 6 identified as hardcore gamer. I wonder why. I need to blow my nose. Give me a second. Real gamer. Real gamer. Are you real gay? Well, Sean Roberts, who researches gaming at Cardiff University, said, when you ask people if they play video games, women often say no. But if you ask about playing games on mobile, many of them will suddenly say yes. Like they have an idea of what a real gamer is in their heads, and they feel like they don't meet that ideal. Yes, just playing video games doesn't make you a gamer, makes you a video game player, which is fine. There's nothing wrong with that. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that. But you cannot expect for gaming to just be anything. There appears to be a link between shame and worrying that what others think of you. Classic women moment. With 16% keeping gaming a secret from friends and family for fear of judgment. Okay, sure, whatever. Women who reported feeling anxious or depressed when scrolling social media were less likely to keep gaming a secret compared to women who were not. 31% versus 12%. Oh, I see what's going on now. I understand. So, you want to look cool like those Stacies on social media. Because playing games is not cool. Who cares? Who cares? Honestly. Who cares what other people think of you? Furthermore, feeling and expressing pride in gaming as a woman is a difficult balancing act. Women who felt very proud of their achievements in games were slightly more likely to keep it a secret than those who did not feel as proud, 22% versus 15%. In contrast, women who were motivated to play games to challenge themselves were far half as likely to keep it a secret, 11% versus 20%. Removing barriers. Dr. Roberts added, women tend to spend less time playing if they feel they don't fit into gaming culture. For example, if they believe that gaming is a male pastime, or they don't play enough games to be a gamer, are embarrassed to call themselves a gamer, or think video games are too violent. In contrast, women spend more time playing if they're proud of their gaming achievements. I feel like you literally said nothing here. Okay, hold up. I think this is completely backwards, first of all. It's not that they spend less time playing if they feel they don't fit into gaming culture. It's that if they spend less time playing, they're less likely to fit into gaming culture. The line here is completely backwards. What else? Male pastime, don't play enough games to be a gamer, or embarrassed to call themselves a gamer. Yeah, that makes sense. I think video games are violent. Women spend more time playing if they're proud of their gaming achievements. Well, yeah? Won't you? Do they really spend money doing this kind of studies? Feels like a waste of money. You told me nothing that I didn't know already. Actually, I'm telling you things that you don't know because you don't understand the data. Whoa! Never went to college, guys. They suggest that guilt and shame are just symptoms. While these are clearly negatively impacting women gamers, they may not be the root of the problem. Instead, removing barriers to play for women may require deeper changes, such as reducing leisure inequality between men and women. Leisure inequality between men and women? What the hell are you talking about? What is this? What inequality? So, you brought up, I don't know, what kind of games do people play nowadays? What's the new one? Metal Gear Solid, Delta, this and that. The remake, I have no idea. And if the game detects you're a woman, suddenly the game is worse, bad, or more difficult? Come on, dude. Get your head out of your ass. Most people play on phones by your own admission. It was here somewhere. The most popular way for women to play mobile games. It's right here. Because of the games themselves. Nobody is limiting their access to, let's say, Elden Ring or, I don't know, Silk Song, now that's actually out. They play mobile games because they're either free or they are simple. Sometimes both. Is it wrong for them to play those games? No? Who cares, really? Do I understand how... Wait, they wouldn't call themselves gamers when they just play that? Yeah, that makes sense. It's not about inequality. God damn, you don't hate the UK enough. You don't hate the UK enough, dude. What? And once again, as we've seen it here. Edmonton. No, it was not here. Hold up. I missed it. Yeah. This thing here. This study shows many women feel excluded from video game culture, with significant numbers of women feeling guilty while playing video games and worrying about what others think of them taking time to play games. If you take time to play games, you're not gonna be criticized by video game culture. You're supposed to play the video games. I mean, in theory at least. So that makes no sense. This worrying comes from normie society. What are you play games? I thought women just liked to cook and to knit and whatnot. What are you doing? Are you one of those nerds? It's not about games, it's about being a nerd. It was all about being a nerd. Nothing new. Okay, I guess we can confirm that these two guys from the UK are complete clowns and they don't know what they're talking about. What else is new? Yay! Speaking of Silk Song, I guess I should mention this too. Silk Song's $20 tag could hurt the indie scene, but only if devs let price anxiety win. Price anxiety. Not quite the end of the world. For some people, looks like it. Silk Song will be priced at $20. It feels low for how long it's been in development and how big the franchise is. Developer Team Cherokee has charged 30 or even 40 bucks and still sold millions of copies because of how beloved the original Whole Knight is. Not to mention how much hype players have had for Silk Song since 2019. Still, it really costs only $20. Slow prices making some people, including other indie devs, believe the game is so cheap that it will hurt the pricing options of other indie games. There has never been normal pricing in video games. Some games are really cheap for what they are, some games are really expensive for what they are. Terraria is still only $10. It's a pretty good game, pretty long. And as I mentioned the other day, Bloodstained, good game. $40 though, seems a little bit expensive. New and small devs, I mean, we have this guy here. As them making it more Metroidvania than Silk Song, which I originally thought, right, would be fairly priced at $20 USD. Why should they price it now? That's for you to decide. Again, small new devs may think players will compare their game's price to Silk Song. If it's anything close to $20, people will say, this game isn't Silk Song, so $20 is too much. The devs fear this will force them to undercharge for their games. Maybe it's not actually under, maybe it's actually fair pricing. I wouldn't know. This potential pressure to reduce prices could make new game projects unsustainable, since these games aren't Silk Song and never will be, so they must be worth less than $20. You can find on Steam right now games that are $20 or even more expensive than that I bet you are way worse than Silk Song and they don't give a fuck. If devs believe their game is competing with Silk Song across the board, including price, that could lead to giving up or, as has happened, delaying their games only to avoid the release near that of Silk Song. Depending on how far it spreads, the ripples could reach throughout the indie scene and cause quite a bit of damage. But people that bought Silk Song might also buy your game. It's not either or, it's oh, I get 2 cakes! But I think we'll avoid most of this. What people forget is that Silk Song is in competition with small and new indie games because its reach and scope are at a far higher level. Having indie games compete with Silksong the way underground bands compete with Taylor Swift, are the way this article competes with the Washington Post's Pulitzer-worthy features. Pulitzer-worthy? Don't replace them. The Washington Post, come on. One could assume otherwise. Since Silksong is an indie game, other indie games will see it as a direct competitor. The thing is, indie isn't a game genre, and people who should enjoy games for their core gameplay spend money based on expected patterns. Bad examples, for sure. MOBAs and hero shooters are free with premium cosmetics, MMORPGs might have a subscription. Fighting games are paid with yearly character passes. I don't know if I agree with that. And then the Metroidvanias are cheap, so to compare Silksong's price with that of other games in the same genre, Metroidvanias. The average price of the top 50 best-selling Metroidvanias on Steam is $17, according to Steam database. This means Silksong's 20 price tag is more expensive, not less, than its competitors. It's only cheaper than the average 31 price tag of all top 100 Steam games. That includes gigantic AAA slop that will always cost more than a game with 3 core developers like Silksong. If an indie developer wanted to release their new Metroidvania for $25, the problem wouldn't be that it's more expensive than Silksong, but that is more expensive than the industry average. When the devs are anxious about their game's pricing, they should focus on problems that affect their financials in a way that Silksong never will. Devs have to give Steam 30% of their game sales. Oh, Epic's so much better. Nobody buys an Epic, come on. Lower the price for specific regions, make frequent price cuts to cut to Steam's sale addicted user base, and sometimes create microtransactions or pay downloadable content to get extra revenue. I don't think that's on Steam's side though. That wouldn't make any sense. I don't believe that would be illegal. On top of that, they had to pay their game content as a piece of a payment processor that could censor and ban their data from online stores. One who creates a product, including a game, has to worry about competition. However, the level of worry and anxiety some developers are experiencing seems to be blowing things out of proportion, from delaying the release of their titles, not to clash with Silksong, to considering whether they should change the same $20 for their game. The industry is more likely to be hurt by the fear of Silksong's impact than by the game's actual release. True, it's all in your head. We don't need releases to become like the stock market, where bad things happen because everyone freaks out at once, into that panic becoming real. There are other games that are actually more expensive than Silksong, and even though I don't think they're bad, they might not be as good. So that's also kind of funny. So, if you thought you should sell it for $20, just do it. It's fine. Just do it. Hilarious. What else do we have? Ah, this may be the last thing for today. I have more stuff, but my throat is giving out, and we are running out of time. Sadly. Sure, the stuff on Saturdays, you know how it is. But speaking of gaming at large in communities, Helldivers 2 Studio CEO says the vast majority of people suddenly play the shooter, which means the devs can just look at Reddit and what the streamers are saying for feedback. It's a challenge for all games. Yes. Admittedly, we screw up all the time, says Shams Georgiani. Yeah, that makes sense. That's gonna happen. It's far to come nowadays for game companies to believe what the community is saying on the social media. But this community is the loud minority. So, following what they tell you might be a really bad idea after all. Not like that's going to kill your game or anything like that, right? Yeah, it also happens. Also creates all sorts of dangerous things like in-group preferences. It creates hijacking of fandoms and all that. It's really bad. But these guys get it, at least. That's pretty useful. Endeavor's developers at Arrowhead Game Studios have a lot to consider when it comes to maintaining and improving their third-person shooter. One of those things is making sure they balance their approach beyond simply looking at what streamers and players on Reddit are saying. Also, fucking play beautiful things. Come on, dude. Come on. These are the guys that lack parts of their brains. Stop it. Interaction in the official Helldivers Discord server, Georgiani is asked for thoughts on the level of influence that the streamers have on Helldivers 2, with one fan suggesting that the content creators have collectively made so much content for the game that they now only focus on the explosive OP weapons and think that everything else is bad. Derived from EA Sports, kind of trash. The idea that this game was never made to be played for 4,000 hours. Do you mean 4 million? Or is this a typo in the first place? According to this, Arrowhead CEO Shams Georgiani acknowledges that this is a challenge for all games, with his streamers representing the playstyle of a minority, and even if they set the standards for many, as they have a platform to broadcast and many who look. As for Arrowhead's approach to this, he says, we balance things out internally by looking at a lot of data, metrics, and qualitative data like a set of streamers. It appears that Georgiani sees streamers as a large minority of Helldivers to player base. It says the vast majority silently play the game. In the post here or on Reddit, and when we do, we see this in the stats, and when we don't, we also see it. Sometimes it overlaps with what influencers or people say on social media. I think it does not. So we use different tools to calibrate our compass. Even though our head is aware of these things and knows not to rely on any one factor too much, that doesn't mean we always get it right. We screw up all the time. With that said, Georgiani positively thinks we keep learning and improving, as proven by the recent appreciation, player numbers and sales. Yeah, devs just don't care what the players want and are following their own business model. They say stuff like this, so they have an excuse to not listen and give the players what they want. Happens in politics all the time. Some do. Some do. They're gonna give you the bare minimum sometimes. Predators, remember, you're the minority challenge. Yeah, true and real. I don't think I have anything short right now to go through. I don't think I do. But I still have some stuff for next week, I guess. That might be interesting. I'm dying here. It's kinda rough right now. Oh, shit, I hate when you do this. It's happening a lot lately. Why live? Why live? But yeah, they keep following minority. What? That sounds a little bit wrong when you say it this way. But they keep following what the minority of people are saying about the games. That's kinda bad. That's actually kinda bad. They don't truly represent the majority after all. Then you have fucking debacles like fucking Monster Hunter Wilds. Because they keep following what the fucking streamers say. Oh, but they sold a lot. Yeah, they sold a lot. Nobody's playing. They have way too many negative reviews. And it's not only because of the terrible performance. So, yeah, it's kinda bad. Yeah, it's kinda bad. It'd be hilarious to me if they actually killed the IP with that. Well, who was right once again? This guy right here. This guy right here was right all the time. You hate to see that. Anyway, it's time for me to take my leave. We're coming back next week. More Final Fantasy VI on Monday, more Pokemon Colosseum on Wednesday. On Thursday, still to be decided. So keep your eyes peeled for schedule on the YouTube community tab. There's something I want to do, but I need to make sure if it's actually possible nowadays. It's gonna be more game anyway. So yeah, that's gonna be it. So thank you for coming. Hope you had some fun. Much still real news, but a bit of fun stuff, I guess. And we're coming back on Monday with more Final Fantasy VI. I need to also create my routing for the World of Ruin, if possible. And yeah, we keep doing the thing. So, you know the rules. Fuck censorship, fuck the government, and take care.